All right, what's up guys? Coach Braydon here with Look Like You Lift. And in this video, I want to talk about the side of being lean that a lot of people just don't talk about. You know, on Instagram and YouTube and basically all over social media, being really lean and looking really good naked has its pros, but it also has its cons, especially if you don't do it the right way. I want to talk about my most recent cut that I just went through where I didn't do things the right way. So quick backstory about me is I was able to lose over 65 pounds of body fat, and I did it without any kinds of dieting or hours and hours of cardio, and I was able to lose 65 pounds in 6 months. That was my first go around. Back this year, I decided I wanted to get back into shape and I wanted to get ready for a photo shoot. Needless to say, the photos came out really, really well, but the method of which I used to get into shape was not a good idea. And I want to kind of break it down for you guys because I feel like there's a lot to learn from this. I learned a lot from it, and I hope that my mistakes and my misery will help you along your journey of getting into shape, losing body fat, and looking really good. So the biggest problem with my last go around of cutting was it was way too fast, right? It was what I would consider rapid fat loss. And that's what a lot of people want, is they want rapid fat loss. They want to lose, you know, 10 pounds a month. They want to lose 20 pounds a month, right? We even see it marketed to you like 15 pounds in 15 days, or, you know, get a six-pack in 6 days, or those kind of things. We even see it on TV with, you know, popular shows like The Biggest Loser or Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition. Like those shows are super popular and they promote rapid weight loss, but there's a lot of problems that come along with rapid weight loss. And I want to break them down for you. So from a scales perspective, I lost 30 pounds, and that's actually pretty quick. So there's three big problems that come from rapid weight loss. Number one is it can develop eating disorders, or it can inflame already existing eating disorders. In my circumstance, I have a history of a binge eating disorder, okay? I struggle around food. I struggled for years with having binge episodes 3 or 4 times a week. So going through this last aggressive cut, my eating disorders came back with a vengeance. As I got leaner and leaner, and as I starved myself more and more, and as I started to implement all these crazy methods to lose weight as fast as I possibly could, temptations for foods that I haven't had in years all of a sudden came back out of nowhere. And after I finished, you know, April 16th was like the final day that I was done cutting. That was like the end date. I basically gave myself to have whatever the hell I wanted, and that was not the best idea. So that day, I mean, I have the freaking video of the cheat day that we had after we were done. You can go watch it. So I probably had close to 10,000 calories on that day, and guys, my stomach was killing me. My stomach was bloated. My stomach was extended. I had stomach cramps all through the night, gas problems. And then the following day, it got worse. It continued to expand. It got more and more painful. But here's the crazy thing, guys, is I didn't stop eating. I just kept eating. And then that following night, my stomach cramps and my extended gut, I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital because it was so painful. And it was, guys, my stomach was so expanded. I can't even explain how it was scary. You know, my bloat was so bad, it was pushing up into my diaphragm, so I couldn't even breathe. The water retention that came from having all these salty cheat foods, it led to me retaining a bunch of water in my ankles. I thought my kidneys were shutting down. It was not a pretty sight. But again, I couldn't stop eating. For 4 weeks straight, I just stuffed my face with all of these foods that I had restricted and starved myself from. And some of these foods I don't even like. But because I restricted myself so much and I starved myself so much, I essentially sent my body into this evolutionary evolutionary zone where it's survival. okay? And we're dying, we need food. And so my mind shifted from a regular civilized 2021 human being to a Paleolithic caveman who's just trying to get enough calories to survive the winter. And so that's essentially what happened. Is I stuffed my freaking face every single day. I couldn't stop. I felt like crap, just utter dog crap. Bloated all the time. My weightlifting belt couldn't even fit around my bloated gut. Water retention. I mean, you could see it in my face from the video that I filmed a couple days ago. Like, I'm all puffy in my eyes, and it was bad. And guys, I weighed myself this morning before I filmed this, and I took my progress pictures so you could see it. I gained 40 pounds in 4 weeks. That's over 10 pounds a week. 40 pounds. Now, granted, I don't know how much of that is body fat. I'm sure there's maybe 10, 12 pounds of it of water. But guys, you spend 16 weeks to lose all this weight and fighting your eating disorder, or in some cases, developing an eating disorder along the way, and then you just let loose, and then you just gain all of your weight back. Is it really worth it? So that should be reason enough right there. So yeah, and the second reason that I wrote down is the rebound phase, and that's essentially what it's talked about, is after you've dieted down for such a long time, and bodybuilders see this all the time, is you get down to these super physiological levels of leanness, these unhealthy levels of being lean. Those pictures that you see circulating around the internet from the photo shoot, that's not healthy. That's not a healthy level of leanness, right? And especially when you use the method to get there is also unhealthy, you're gonna have a rebound phase, which is essentially what I just talked about, where your body's in survival mode and it wants to get in as much calories and it wants to get back to that comfortable level of fatness that it wants to be at, and it's going to send hunger signals and craving signals, and in my case, some cravings for foods that you don't even like, just to get the food in, just to get back to that level of fatness that it's comfortable at. So in my case, 40 pounds is essentially what my body wanted. So essentially just starting back over is essentially where we are. That's the rebound phase. The more aggressive the method to getting lean, the more aggressive the rebound phase, the faster you're gonna gain the weight back. The third problem is hormonal issues along the way. So when you starve yourself, when you cut down super aggressively and super fast, your hormones are going to be out of whack. Namely testosterone for men that are watching this. My testosterone was in the dumps. With my testosterone dropping because of how depleted and starved I am, I was losing libido. I was losing sex drive. There was a time where my wife and I didn't have sex for like a month, okay? And I didn't have any kind of like physical affection for her at all. It took a strain on our marriage. It was bad. With the downside, with the dropping of testosterone, you're also going to lose muscle mass. With the dropping of testosterone, it becomes even harder to lose any additional body fat. It's a grind. That's just one hormone. We're not even talking about thyroid, T3, T4. We're not talking about, I'm not gonna talk about ghrelin or leptin, but there is one other hormone I wanna talk about, which is cortisol. You know, fat loss is a very stressful process on the body, and losing it really freaking quick is even more stressful on the body. So when cortisol levels go up, your ability to burn fat goes down and your muscle wasting goes up. And also it affects your sleep. Guys, I went through almost a month and a half of what's called cutting insomnia. This is also what bodybuilders deal with, where they can't sleep because their stress levels are so high. I would put my head down to go to bed. I would be so freaking dog tired. I would lay down and be wired in 3 hours, just wide awake, not being able to fall asleep. It was awful. Okay, and that's because my cortisol levels were so high. And the solution to dropping cortisol in this case is eat. Go eat some freaking food. Hormones are gonna go out of whack. And guys, it's not worth it. It's bad. So I've gone in, I hope I've provided enough reasons for you to avoid cutting too quickly, avoid burning fat too fast. So What is a good parameter that you should shoot for when you're looking to lose weight? A good number to shoot for is no more than 1% of total body weight per week. Okay, so if you're 200 pounds, a good range is 1 pound a week, or 1.5 pounds a week. Pushing it is 2 pounds a week. If you're 300 pounds, you can easily lose 2 pounds a week and you'll be fine. If you're 150 pounds, you probably shouldn't lose any more than 1 pound a week. Okay, so 1% of total body weight. Now it seems slow, but it's consistent, and you're not gonna screw yourself over with all the things that I just laid out. The eating disorders, the hormonal issues, the rebound phase. And guys, that should be the biggest reason, is the rebound phase. What's the purpose of losing all this freaking weight if you're just gonna gain it back in a week or two, right? Be slow with it, okay? That kind of brings me to my next point, is what I'm planning to do differently. So, like I said, this is a learning experience, going through gaining all this weight back so freaking quick. What am I gonna do differently here? What I plan to do when I decide to start losing weight again, once I start cutting again, is number one, slow down. You know, I'm not gonna try to be losing weight as quickly. I had no business trying to drop 2 pounds a week. I should have been dropping 1 pound a week, at most. Number two is I'm gonna give myself more time. So this last time, I gave myself like 12 weeks to go from, pudgy and out of shape and deconditioned to like mind-bogglingly shredded. I had no business doing that. I should have given myself like 20 weeks or 22 weeks. Okay, so this time around, I want to start getting ready for my first bodybuilding competition. I'm planning on giving myself 32 weeks. So plenty of time. So slow down. Number three is I'm not going to introduce cardio so early. So with this last cut, I didn't do like dedicated cardio like running or biking or rowing or anything like that. But I did do bouts of like low to moderate intensity. Walking, incline walking, elliptical work, low intensity cycling, those kind of things. But I introduced that way too early in the cut. And the problem with that is, with these dedicated long bouts of low intensity cardio, you get adapted to low intensity cardio very, very quickly. And so you become more efficient at it, but then you burn less calories doing it. So I shot myself in the foot and ended up having to do a lot of cardio at the end of the cut. So it just wasn't worth it. I should have held off on that and introduced cardio at like the last couple weeks of the cut, as opposed to like 10 or 12 weeks in. So we learned from there. Number four is diet breaks. So when you're under a lot of stress and under a time constraint, you really don't think about this kind of stuff, but a diet break is essentially where you give your body a break from being so restricted, from being in such an aggressive deficit. Because just like with training, how in training we have deloads, so when a diet break is implemented correctly, what will occur is metabolism will come back up, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna have more energy, training will go better, hormones are gonna normalize. Testosterone will go back up, cortisol will come back down. But the biggest thing is you're just giving your body a break and letting metabolism come back up to normal. So, but I was in a time crunch. I had a very limited amount of time to lose all this weight, and so I didn't have time for a diet break. Like, that was my mentality, is I don't have time to take a break. I've got like all this work to do, and I just ended up shooting myself in the foot by doing that. So diet breaks are definitely gonna have their place this next time around. Number five is I'm not gonna pull away my favorite foods. So one of the big things that happened in my big binge episode is I noticed that like the foods that I was craving, not the snacks and the treats and the sweets and everything, but like the foods I was craving were burgers. Okay, I love burgers, right? And so going into this next diet, I'm not gonna try to cut out burgers. I'm gonna give myself the little treats throughout the cut to basically keep any kind of eating disorder at bay, and to give myself a little bit of reward. In this cut, basically the last 10 or 12 weeks, I ate the same meal for every meal because it was easy to track and it was easy to make. So of course I had an issue when I was you know, done cutting and I could just eat whatever I wanted. Of course that was a problem. So keeping some of my favorite foods in as long as I can is probably gonna be a good idea. And then number 6, probably the biggest thing, is I'm gonna have an exit strategy. So when I finish the cut, what's the next step? Like, I'm not just gonna like, what do we go from here? So you finished this meal plan to this date. What's the meal plan after that date, right? I didn't have that. I just basically just gave myself permission to just eat whatever the frick I wanted. And that was a bad idea. I'm sure that a lot of the effects of the rebound phase could have been prevented, and the pain and the suffering that I went through could have been prevented if I just put some boundaries in place. Like, hey, stick to your meal plan, but have like 1 or 2 fun meals instead of 10,000 calories of fun meals every single day, right? So that's the plan going into the next cut. I'm not cutting right now. I gained 40 pounds in 4 weeks, and I'm just accepting that fact. But what I'm not doing is freaking out and going into this mode of, crap, I gotta lose this weight, going into panic mode, because that would be even worse. And I'm sure the effects of that would be even worse than what I just went through. So we're gonna be smart about this. So here's what I'm doing right now. So I had some camera difficulties yesterday, so I'm refilming the final part of this video. So here we are, back again. All right, so I wanna talk about what I plan to do differently once I make the decision to start cutting again. Number 1 is we're gonna be at maintenance calories for about 4 weeks. So I'm currently eating at about 3,000 calories a day right now. I'm not really gonna care about what the scale does. I don't care if it goes up, goes down, stays the same. The whole reason why we're gonna do higher calories, 3,000 calories, is because we're gonna try to get the body to adapt to having 3,000 calories of energy coming in. Just to kind of give you some perspective, I did some math of where my calories ended up at the end of my cut. This is with the addition of about 2 to 3 hours of cardio per day. I was at about 1,200 calories a day. I know. What the hell was I thinking? But when you are in cutting mode and you're stressed out and you're on a time constraint, you do some pretty stupid stuff, as you've seen over the past few minutes, right? So we're bringing calories up to 3,000 calories from good, clean sources of food that's being prepared at home, not eating junk food anymore. And we're gonna do that for 4 weeks and see what happens. Step number 2 is after the 4 weeks, we're gonna reassess. We're gonna decide, all right, where do we go from here? Are we ready to start a cut? Have we kind of been able to get to a normal state? Are we losing weight on 3,000 calories? What's going on? That's what we're gonna reassess. And then step number 3 is once we decide that we're going to start cutting again, we're gonna do a really, really slow cut. I'm talking slow, right? So in my previous video, I talked about how I'm gonna start preparing for a bodybuilding competition, April 16th, 2022, just under a year before the competition. So realistically, I have 10 months to cut. So I'm fine doing a 40-week cut to prepare for this competition. If I need to do a 40-week cut, 30-week cut, so be it. But we're gonna give ourselves plenty of time. I would much rather lose half a pound of body fat per week for 40 weeks than trying to do what I just did this summer and try to lose 2 pounds in 16 weeks, right? So we're gonna do a really, really slow cut. And then the final step, which is I think is gonna probably be the biggest thing that I'm gonna do here, is I'm currently looking for a coach. So with my experience of being a coach, I help men go from, obese to overweight, and then from overweight to looking good naked. I help guys lose their first 40 to 50 pounds of body fat. There's a difference though between going from, having a beer belly to not having a beer belly to going from, in fairly good condition to mind-bogglingly shredded. There's a difference there. And obviously, I don't know how to go from that to that. I know how to do the other one, but I really don't know what the heck I'm doing to prepare for a bodybuilding show, to get down to sub 10% body fat, 5% body fat, right? So I'm currently in the market for a coach. I'm looking for a coach that kind of vibes with me as far as training in nutrition and lifestyle philosophy, which is showing to be challenging. But I'm on the hunt. I'm currently in contact with a few coaches, trying to see if we have a good fit. But really, I'm gonna be looking for a coach that can help me with the food, that can help me with the posing, that can help me with the prep. Because if I have somebody else doing the work for me, I no longer have to stress out about it. And you know, I'm a firm believer in investing in other people's knowledge and investing into a coach, because that means that you're investing into speed. You're investing into speed of implementation. You don't have to worry about guesswork and trial and error and the stress. Like, I honestly wish I hired a coach back in January when I first started this. We wouldn't have had as terrible of a time, right? But you know, we live and learn. So moving forward, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna have a coach. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, is we're gonna have somebody else do the work for me, so I don't have to worry about it. And I know that whatever we do is actually gonna work, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I know this was a really, really long video, but I feel like it was really important for me to make this, because like I said, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about the danger of rapid fat loss. Nobody's talking about the mental fatigue that comes with rapid fat loss. All we see on Instagram is the good stuff. All we see on Instagram is the glamour of being super shredded, not all the other stuff that I just talked about. I think you can get to that point of great conditioning and losing all that weight and looking really good without the negative side effects that I talked about. But you have to do things the right way, which I also talked about earlier. So I wanna say thank you so much for watching this video. If you stuck to the end of this, freaking pat yourself on the back. Feel free to leave a comment, feel free to give it a like, and feel free to subscribe, and share it with your friends. Share it with someone else who's considering trying to lose weight at a rapid pace, and try to deter them away from doing that. Maybe, hopefully we can save a life and prevent any kinds of eating disorders and hormonal issues down the road, right? So thanks again, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.